Many Christians are afraid to get involved in politics because they do not understand the nature of jurisdictions. Today I want to deal with biblical and constitutional jurisdictions so Christians can better understand their proper role in the civil sphere. One of the things that I find disturbing among Christians is that they don't understand the nature of jurisdictions. The word jurisdiction means to speak the law. Juris means law and diction means to speak. And as a result of an improper understanding of jurisdictions, a lot of Christians say, I can't get involved in politics because it's outside of our jurisdiction. We as Christians can't speak to the area of civil government. We have no right to speak to the area of civil government. This is a true misunderstanding of the Bible and also a misunderstanding of the Constitution. The Constitution certainly does not prohibit Christians from getting involved in politics, and it certainly does not prohibit Christians from applying their religious values to the political sphere. There's nothing in the Constitution that prohibits us as Christians, as voters, to vote for somebody based upon their religious convictions and how they might apply those religious convictions politically or legally. So to get a good idea of what a jurisdiction is, think of property. I own a piece of property. I have jurisdiction over that property. I can speak the law to the boundaries of my property. I can't go outside of my property and speak the law to it in this sense. If I want to build a shed on my property, I have the jurisdictional right to do so. But if I want to build a shed on someone else's property, I don't have the jurisdictional right to do so. I may go to my neighbor, my property owner who has his boundaries marked out and say, hey, I would like to build a shed here. And he might say, well, you can do that. You're going to have to rent the property from me. You're going to have to pay for some easement or whatever the case might be. So jurisdiction simply gives me the right to deal with my property in a legal way. That's why anytime you buy a piece of property, you have a surveyor come out to identify the pins, the boundary markers. Well, government is very similar to property. Government has certain jurisdictions. There's self-government, family government, church government, and civil government. And under civil government, there are lesser magistrates, lesser governments. In the United States, we have a national government. It has a certain specified jurisdiction outlined in the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution is a document of enumerated powers. That is, if a power is not listed in the Constitution, not specified in the Constitution, then the federal government does not have jurisdiction in that power realm. This is what the Ninth and 10th Amendments, if I can find these quickly, the Ninth and 10th Amendments are so important to the Constitution. The Ninth Amendment says, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So the Ninth Amendment is saying, look, there are rights enumerated in the Constitution. Those rights that are enumerated in the Constitution does not nullify the rights of individuals or states or counties anywhere else. They are only specific to the federal government and only to the federal government. If the state government has similar rights and powers within its jurisdiction, then the state retains those and the federal government only deals with those rights on a federal level. The 10th Amendment, powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. And so again, the idea of enumerated powers at the federal level, very, very important. The jurisdictional limits of federal power begin and end with the Constitution itself. Now, Congress and the President and the courts don't oftentimes pay attention to those jurisdictional limits. We're beginning to see that. That's why we're having this tug of war with these political parties, and the Democrats and the Republicans are both guilty about this. They do not understand, or nor do they abide by the jurisdictional limits of the Constitution, even though they took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And voters. Voters are equally guilty. You will find voters who will vote for a particular candidate because that candidate promises to bring money to a district or a state. In the case of Congress, to a district, and in the case of the state, to a senator. But where's that money coming from? If extra money is being brought into your state because of your congressman or your senator, you have to ask the question, where's that extra money coming from? Well, that extra money is coming from other people in other states and other districts. Somebody is getting shortchanged here. If you go to, say, the city of Atlanta or where public transportation is funded in some way or another by the federal government, it isn't all being paid for by the people of this state or the districts in which that transportation, some sort of subway or a bus system and so forth, it's being taken from other states. This goes beyond the jurisdictional boundaries of what the federal Constitution is all about. And voters who vote that way are just as much in violation of the Constitution as those who take an oath to uphold the Constitution, your own congressman or your own senator. But we've gotten so far out of this jurisdictional understanding that we have fallen for this idea that whatever my congressman can bring back to my district or to my state, that's why I'm going to vote for him. Not only is it unconstitutional, but it is also unethical and immoral. Now we get down to church-state issues. There are jurisdictional limitations at the civil level as there are in the ecclesiastical level. The Constitution of the United States is very clear. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This limits, it sets up jurisdictional boundaries and limitations to the federal government on what it can do regarding religion. Those prohibitions are addressed to Congress. The Congress of the United States has no jurisdictional authority to tell the states what to do regarding religion. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, groups like the ACLU and Americans United for Separation of Church and State have turned the First Amendment on its head and have used the First Amendment to actually to deny the free exercise of religion at the state and county and district level. And yet the First Amendment to the Constitution was designed to protect the states and protect the counties and protect various districts. So now we get down to the point of Christian involvement in the political realm. There's nothing in the Bible that says that we as Christians, because we hold a religious view on things, cannot be involved politically. The civil magistrate in Romans chapter 13 is very clear. It's defined as a minister of God. He's God's deacon. That's what the word in the Greek is, diakonos, the same word that's used for a deacon in a church. So the civil magistrate is God's deacon, and as God's deacon, civil magistrate must make distinctions between good and evil, and Romans 13 spells this out. In fact, he has the power of the sword to punish those who do evil and promote those who do good. Therefore, the civil magistrate is not autonomous. He's not a law unto himself. He must abide by certain fundamental principles that are God ordained. And we want that because the civil magistrate is limited biblically as well as constitutionally. And so for Christians to say they shouldn't be involved in politics because the civil magistrate is involved in so-called secular matters is really out of accord with what the Bible says. We go against God's own prescription for the civil magistrate as God's deacon, as God's minister in a civil capacity. So those of you who have Christian friends who say that we as Christians should not be involved because its civil government is the realm of the demonic, they are really close to blaspheming, since civil government is actually God's designation, very much, well actually not very much, but like in the same way as family government and church government. If you want more information about this, I suggest that you get a series of books that I wrote called God and Government, a 3-volume set, a workbook that will help you see through all of this.